to allow ourselves to be filled, to have our hearts filled and our eyes overflow. I was thinking about this kid I hadn't seen in a long time, still haven't seen him, but a little guy named Joey who used to work in the office a long time ago. And a little knucklehead, you know, and he was the one that, you may have heard me say this before, he was the one who came in sort of late in the game, discovered that I had leukemia, and right as I was going through chemotherapy, he wasn't working for me then. And he came in and he just looked positively stricken, and he sits down in my office and he says, "I hear you have leukemia." And I said, "Yeah, I do." And there was this awkward silence, and then he says, "My cat had leukemia. She died." And oh gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm awfully glad you stopped by. It just picked me right up there. Well, shortly after that, I lost track of him. He sort of disappeared from the face of the earth, and I never knew where he was. And then I was at Camp Mendenhall to say Mass, and all of a sudden I hear, "Chee!" And here's this kid, Joey, and he's running, galloping towards me, and gives me a big gobble. So when we stand out on the field, we talk for a long time, and, you know, he's just seems changed. He's, you know, wearing one of those green camouflage uniforms that you have to wear there. And we're talking, and finally I say, "You know, boy, you seem changed to me, like you got a whole big dose of maturity." He says, "You know, I'll be honest with you, I'm glad I'm here. You know, I pray a lot." He says, "I just love praying," he says. I said, "You do?" He goes, "Love it." I said, "Well, tell me something. What's God like?" And he's kind of startled by the question, and then he just smiles and he lights up and he goes, "Great." And then he's sort of overwhelmed by the sheer size of that truth, and he takes his thumb and forefinger and he kind of puts them in his eyes, and he just starts to cry. When you fill my heart, my eyes overflow, and God just wants to find us found, and so we cooperate a little bit. I remember years ago I was saying Mass at East Max, and in this big dining hall, and we wait for the inmates to come in, and there was this old volunteer Korean gentleman who always had a little bowl of holy water, and he stood at the entrance as the inmates came in, and they all very carefully would, you know, put their hands in the finger in the thing and make the sign of the cross. And I was watching this guy, he comes in, and he puts his finger very carefully in the water, and then he balances it on his finger to kind of keep it there. And then he very deftly, with the other hand, pulls out something from his pocket, and it looks like a photograph. I'm at a distance. And he takes the drop, and he just puts it on the photograph. And then he starts to walk toward me, and I was shaking everybody's hands. And he comes towards me, and he shows me this photograph. It's actually a sonogram, you know, an ultrasound picture of his baby to be born. And he looks at me, and he says, "I don't know if it's a boy or a girl." And then he starts, his eyes fill up with tears, and he can't speak. And he says, "All I know is it's a blessing. When you fill my heart, my eyes overflow." And God just wants us to find ourselves found. So today, let's let our hearts be filled.